Egunon. Bueno, yo soy Íñigo Martínez de Marañón, soy el director de tecnología de ASTI, que es un centro, como ha comentado antes Paul, que se encuentra aquí en el País Vasco y que estamos especializados en investigación alimentaria e investigación marina. Hoy tengo el gran placer de presentaros al doctor Frans Kampers de la Universidad de Wageningen y que tras un doctorado en física se ha especializado y ha dirigido varios departamentos en el ámbito de los microsistemas, de los sensores y de las microtecnologías. Actualmente, bueno, ha dirigido el departamento de bionanotecnología de la Universidad de Wageningen, donde se ha especializado en la aplicación de la bionanotecnología en el ámbito de la alimentación y de la nutrición. Además de su actividad investigadora, durante estos años ha sido asesor de varios comités y asociaciones como la International Society for Food Application of Nanoscale Sciences. También me gustaría comentar que últimamente, además de su actividad de investigación, es asesor estratégico de una entidad que se encarga de promover startups en el ámbito agroalimentario en Holanda. Pues nada más que esto, yo agradecer y invito al doctor Frans Kampers por esta magnífica presentación que nos va a hacer en este interesante mundo de la bionanotecnología.
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to give a presentation on the views of our organization on how the food system should look like in 2050. It might be a little bit controversial in my presentation, and that's deliberately done so. I want to trigger discussion. I want you to challenge me afterwards. So if you do not agree with what I'm saying, that's okay. You can challenge me. So I'm going to talk about the food system in 2050 as I and my organization view that. Well, gastronomy is, for many people, is something like this. The art of eating well. And I understand that you are trying to expand that definition to a larger part of the value chain, and that I think that's a very good initiative. But what we are talking about is this: feeding the world. We would like to think how are we going to feed the world? And this picture has two dimensions. First of all, it has a dimension of geography. So a lot of regions in the world do not have access to good food, good nutrition, and that is depicted here. But there's also a second dimension. These are children. And what we believe at the moment, we have an unsustainable food system, and that needs to change. That needs to change fast. I was completely in agreement with the initial video that was shown earlier on by Project Gastronomia, except for one sentence. It said it may be more sustainable. I believe, and we believe, that it must be more sustainable by 2050. It must be completely sustainable if we want to feed the world for generations to come. So that's the second dimension in this picture. The message for you here is that gastronomy is very important in relaying that message, but also in showing how things should be done. Chefs, restaurants are ideal places to convey a message. If you are feeding people high-calorie dishes, if you are feeding people high-salt products, if you are selling people a lot of meat with very little vegetables, that is something that people take home. That is something that is a demonstration of good food, good eating. So you should realize that you have a role to play in turning the food system around, and I want you to think about it. Okay, What are the global food challenges? Well, I don't need to explain it anymore. Nutrition security, not just food security, nutrition security. So it includes quality. The second one is that the system is not sustainable, as I said, and we definitely need more circularity. The third is food quality and safety. Well, it was addressed already, so I don't need to talk about it very much. And the fourth is we all want to grow healthy and age well. So healthy aging and well-being, preventive healthcare is an important challenge also for the food system. So if we can solve these 4 issues, I think we are in the clear for the next generations. Food security basically revolves around the 4 things that we need in our food. So it's carbohydrates for the energy, it's proteins for building it up, fats is also for calories basically, and nutrients, so the minerals and things like that that we need to build and sustain our biochemistry basically. And they come from different parts of our food. So the carbohydrates definitely come from the staple foods usually. The fruits, it doesn't work very well. Sorry about that. The fruits, they also deliver. I animated more than I thought. Proteins and nutrients. Meat, obviously, proteins, food, nutrients, and fat, and healthy ingredients, so ingredients that are added to the food. Well, they are for the nutrients. And this is more or less the structure of my talk. So the presentation will revolve around how we supply our future generations with these 4 things, and how can technology offer solutions there. I will not present everything because I only have 20 minutes, and I realize that my time already has been gone. Sorry about that, but I will address these. Okay, first, staple foods. Staple foods are the grains, potatoes, maize, but also cassava and things like that. Rice, very important. So how can technology help to produce these more efficient? This is a cabin of a modern tractor, and it uses precision agriculture. So it has a lot of technology inside that knows where the tractor is and things like that. And it helps to produce our staple foods more sustainably. Because it links the data that we have from satellites, for instance, but also the data that are measured on the tractor itself and by autonomous vehicles that may traverse the area, and we will see drones coming in between. All these will provide a lot of data that can help to draw maps like this. What you see here is an area where potato is grown, and the colors indicate the amount of leaf that is on the land at a certain position. And that is important for potatoes because before you harvest potatoes, you have to kill the leaf. So with this map, we can steer the machine that kills the leaf, that sprays the chemical that kills the leaf, very accurately, dosing it according to the amount that is necessary, not overdosing it, not underdosing it, but dosing it very accurately, relative to the position in the field. And you can imagine that this can also be done with pesticides if necessary, and with fertilizers if necessary. So this is the potential of precision agriculture, and this may come out. So this is an autonomous machine that sprays the chemical that kills the leaves, and this is the future of this farmer. This is Uber Eats for plants. Okay, next topic, vegetable farming. So we all need vegetables. Vegetables are very important in our diets, not just for the nutrients, but also for fibers and things like that. And we've seen presentations this morning about how to grow them. These are pink houses, as they call them, because of the light. The plants grow best at a mixture of green and blue light, of red and blue light. That's why they reflect green, and that's why we all see leaves as green. I want to point out, I took this picture from the internet, but it's Panasonic that put it on. And there's a reason, because they believe this is the future. And they're not interested in selling plants. They're not interested in selling food. They're interested in selling LEDs. And that is their business model. You have to keep that in mind. Let's look at it from a different point of view. This is Beijing, what you see here. It's over there, but it's also over here. And if I draw a rectangle with dimensions of 100 kilometers by 100 kilometers, all of Beijing is basically inside of that square. Everybody. So I think at the moment there are 26 million people living there. If you want to feed these 26 million people, you need about 90% of that area to grow the rice that they eat, so the staple food. So for urban farming, that is not good, that is not a very good idea. But let's see how much they need in vegetables. But let's use a state-of-the-art, high-tech greenhouse for that purpose. What area do you think is necessary for the greenhouse to produce all the vegetables that the people of Beijing consume? How much?
Small.
Small. No? Well, I agree. It's that area. So now envision that you scatter those greenhouses in parks and areas where people can enjoy walking through. You don't need the pink houses. You can easily grow these vegetables in the Beijing area, close to the people, where they can enjoy. And it makes sense, because if you have to convert sunlight via solar cells to electricity and then convert it back with LEDs to light, that is not very efficient. So it's more efficient to use the light directly. And we are doing studies how to change the composition and the nutritional content of products with added LED lights. But the bulk of the growing is done with the sun. And that is the more efficient process. We have done, recently we have achieved a greenhouse in the Middle East, and we have achieved growing a kilogram of cucumber with 1.2 liters of water. These greenhouses can generate electricity because the plants do not use all the spectrum, and we can accommodate solar panels in the glass, integrated, that transmit the part of the spectrum that the plants use and convert the other part of the spectrum into electricity. So, and they can also produce warmth. So they can produce energy, not cost energy. Okay, meat. Meat is an important pleasure item in our diets, we all agree. But it's highly unsustainable. If you look at cows, and if you produce 1 kilogram of 1 unit of beef, the cow has to eat 10 times the amount of plant protein to do that. So you can imagine that it's unsustainable. There are some issues, there are more, you can say more about it, but it is the general case. If you look at pigs and the same unit of meat, it is twice as efficient, but still 5 times the amount of plant protein necessary. Chicken are even better, 2.5. Insects, very interesting, 1.7, and cultivated meat, cultivated fish are the best, 1.2. So if you want to be sustainable in your animal protein consumption, then fish is the best to go for. So this is a global thing. So you can make a choice already. So as a gastronomy profession, you can make choices here. Understand? Show people what the better choice is. But we have technology now, and this is cultured beef. This is cultured meat. So this is produced. It's real meat, but it's produced from cells, and they grow in a petri dish, not in a cow, but in a petri dish. People believe that this will be the future. I don't. Sorry. Because it's highly unsustainable. It also uses a lot of input because it's meat. And to produce it in a petri dish also requires all the amounts of proteins and all the amounts of nutrients that you have to feed a cow. So it's not a solution really. It's an interesting scientific thing, but it's not a solution. What we believe is, well, you can make burgers out of that, so that could be interesting. But what we believe is making it in a different way. If you realize that meat, if you want to make a meat replacer directly from the protein that's in the plants, then you have to realize that meat is a product that has a structural hierarchy. Because it's muscle tissue, and it has all these structural hierarchy, and that is important for the way the meat behaves in your mouth. So the texture of the meat is generated by the structural hierarchy. The flavor and everything we can easily mimic, easily. But this is the important and very difficult thing, and it goes down to the nano level. So you have to realize that if you want to create a product that is a meat replacer and that is experienced by people as a meat replacer, you have to rebuild this structural hierarchy. And we do research on that, and I think we have succeeded. This is an old picture, but it's one of the early products. It already looks a little bit like chicken meat, so it has these fibers and things like that. But more importantly, on the micro level, it also has a structure, and on the nano level, it also has a structure. So this is a product that could do the trick. We've built a machine, and we can now produce this. And this is really now going to grow into a startup company. Because if you can make steak in a way that the consumers really like it, then you're in business, because meat, the price of meat will skyrocket. We've seen what will happen in China and in India. People will start eating more meat over there. It's already happening in China. So the price, since our globe is not large, cannot become larger, it will be very difficult to make traditional beef. So demand rising, supply lagging behind, prices going up. And this will force all of us to become flexitarians. So we will start eating meat every once in a while. And maybe we will go to a fancy restaurant and enjoy a really good steak there. That is going to happen in the near future. But if you want to have something that resembles meat, has the same nutritional qualities as meat, and maybe even the pleasure of meat, then this is your alternative. We also create chicken meat. We've had chefs eat this product, and they really liked it. They really thought it difficult to distinguish from real chicken meat. Texture is also looks really very much like chicken meat. So it's an interesting product. Okay, that about meat. Then we all want to grow old, healthy, and enjoy our pensions, and together with spouses and everything, and exercise a little bit. So healthy food is important. First of all, if everybody eats like this every day, and I'm sure in Spain that happens more often than in the Netherlands, and even there it happens more often probably than in the US. Nobody needs any supplements, nobody needs any technology to improve the food that you're eating here. But we know that this is more likely the case in certain groups in our society, and these groups are really threatened. And there are other groups. Elderly people, they do not taste very much anymore. And if you get sick, you also tend to start eating things that you can manage, but not the whole healthy diet that you should. And what we see in hospitals often is that people that get hospitalized are undernourished. They lack certain nutrients in their diets, and that is really an important issue. It takes longer for them to get healthy again, or if they need surgery, it's more difficult. They have to wait until they have recovered from that nutrient deficiency problem. There are challenges if we want to add nutrients to food products, because in many cases these nutrients, they do not taste very well. And secondly, they sometimes react with each other before you can eat them. Well, and that is not very good for the nutritional effect. For instance, vitamin C and iron. You cannot combine them in one product because they react, and then the iron you can't use anymore. You also want to overcome the low pH in the stomach. Many of these nutrients that you want to add do not, well, they are broken down by the low pH in the stomach. And finally, the bioavailability of nutrients is also an issue. And here, nanotechnologies can help a little bit, because with encapsulation, you can make sure that these nutrients do not become available in the mouth, so you don't taste them. That you can keep them separate from other chemicals in the food product, or even as a micronutrient. Because of the small size, you can make the bioavailability much better, because the surface of these globes and what is inside is very small, so a lot of exchange surface available. And finally, if you design the capsule in the right way, it can stand the low pH and it will do its trick. So the holy grail is that you put your nutrients inside one of these encapsulation systems, and then you add that to the food, and the food gets eaten. So it goes into your body, and what you want is to deliver the nutrients to the functional place. So you want to release them very often in the small intestine, where specific enzymes are present that break down the encapsulation. And that is possible with nanotechnology. So you can make food products, add nutrients to it with nanotechnologies, and make them more healthy in that way. Okay, then food quality and safety. We have done a project for the European Union. It's called the Pasteur Project, and we have developed an RFID tag that also can measure all sorts of volatile elements that signal if quality is deteriorating. So these were the people who have been, and we've tested it in 3 value chains. So meat was also one of the value chains. I will go through this quickly. The idea is that in different parts of this value chain, you can measure the specific parameters in some cases it's just temperature, in some cases it's humidity, in some cases it's pH of the product, and with that information you can derive the quality of the product in the shop, in the retail outlet, and even predict how the consumer will experience the quality. So this is, well, it doesn't add very much, but you can imagine that this chain of meat is very complicated and it requires a lot of these measurements. One tag can do it, and that's this one. So this is, there are only 3 solid state components. The rest is printable electronics. These, the gray areas over here, they're over there as well, by the way. These are the batteries or the power supply. And so the antenna is also printed. It's up here. So everything can be printed. This is now produced by NXP, and we are trying to set up a company around it to provide it to the retail. This can be scaled down. It must be scaled down to make it more cost efficient, because this is too costly. So it works for batches, not for individual products. But you can imagine that if we can print everything, then we're in business. You already have freshness indicators like this that also determine specific volatiles in the package and indicate if a product is not good anymore. And that will reduce one of the biggest issues that we know in food industry, the sustainability, because we waste a lot of food. 30 to 40% of all the food produced is wasted. And that's not just in industrialized countries, it's also in developing countries, although the reasons for that is different. Most of our food in industrialized countries is thrown away by you guys, so by us, the consumers, because we don't use it in time. In the developing countries, it's mostly because storage is not efficient, and they just rot away. But it's still 30 to 40%. Imagine that we are now with a little bit more than 7 billion people on this planet. Imagine that if we grow to 10 billion, but if we can use all the things that we throw away, the problem would be solved. It's just a distribution idea. We need to redistribute what we throw away, and things are solved. Well, maybe not the nutritional part, but the feeding part at least. So it's about food preservation. So technology can help to preserve the food, preserve the quality of the food. Irradiation has been developed decades ago, is the best way to do it. But there we have something interesting, because the consumer does not like irradiated food. It's done for herbs, and it's done for military food, and it works perfectly well. But it's not done for consumer food, because people think that you start glowing after you have eaten something that has been irradiated. Well, as a physicist, I can assure you that is not going to be the case. Well, obviously, everybody wants food to be fresh, tasty, but also convenient, and there's a difficulty. Nanotechnology is used to make these packages tailor-made to the product. They need many products need to exchange gases to maintain their quality to a certain extent. Some packaging systems can reduce the pressure of bacteria and fungi growing inside with nano silver particles, for instance, that are included. Things like that. Barrier properties of drinks are also improved by nanotechnology. So in the material side, there's still room for improvement, but also in measuring what is going on inside. This is another new development that gets distributed a lot. This is a high pressure machine. The problem here is cost efficiency, because it's a batch process and it's very difficult to make it in on a large scale with bulk processes. So cost is an issue here. And we have pulsed electric field, which is predominantly for liquid food products, where you can sterilize the product by puncturing holes in the walls of the bacteria, so they die with electric fields. We have a setup in our lab to test what is possible and how much energy goes in and what other elements are necessary for a good sterilization, but it's predominantly for drinks. So there's a lot of high tech that can help us make the food system more sustainable, help us produce the food that is necessary and the nutrition that is necessary to feed the world. But it's also up to the consumers, us, as we sit here, everybody, to accept what technologies that are on offer. And I can assure you, time is running out. We can't afford to miss out on any of the technologies. We need everything. We need a combined effort to solve this problem, because these issues are really, really very urgent and are really, really very serious. I was asked to give a flavor of a plant, a food plant of the future. We have recently completed the European Union project, which was called Pick and Pack, and I want to show you the final result of that. It's a video. Can you raise the...
would revolutionize picking and packing operations in the food industry. A plan that would make it possible for different food products to be processed on the same production line. This master plan was given a name: Pick and Pack. Pick and Pack consists of several smart modules, each with its own important function. It all starts with the so-called flexible thermoformer, which is what determines the exact dimensions of the packaging. With its flexible mold system, the shape of a mold can be changed in under a minute. It's as easy as playing with Lego. The form of the mold can be adjusted to fit the size and shape of virtually any product. As the plastic is molded, the RFID scanner examines the crate to establish where and when the products were harvested and sends this information to the line controller. Next, the pick and place robot gently picks complex natural products from the harvest crate, taking away the need for a conveyor belt. Its vision-controlled robotic gripper, specially designed for careful food grasping, is then automatically cleaned in the robot cell. After picking the product, it's time for a quality check, performed by a so-called Quality Assessment System, or QAS. It uses a variety of sensors, which together tell you the weight and the bricks of each piece of fruit. Even in a truss, this self-learning system can check for both surface and internal defects. With the quality of the product established, it's time to give it a personalized print. Thanks to the flexible printer, there's no need for labels or pre-printed foils. The package's exterior, as well as its final destination, can be determined at the very last moment. The laser sealer cuts the packaging into any desired shape, as well as sealing it. Its lower energy consumption helps prevent overheating of the factory. A packaging audit is also included, equipped with an infrared camera to check the integrity of each seal. It enables immediate resealing when necessary. Next, each package is provided with an RFID tag, a small antenna that makes it possible to track and trace the products. Now that the product has been checked, printed and sealed, it is time to sort it according to quality and destination. The beautiful thing about this innovative sorting system, called Pickable, is that it hardly uses up any floor space, despite its large flexible range. The surfaces of the pick and pack line never have to be cleaned by hand. Instead, an adaptive self-driving cleaning robot treats each module according to its specific hygienic status, making sure the entire system is left spotless for its next use. What truly crowns this master plan is the fact that the graphical user interface makes it possible to approach each separate module independently. The modules can be used in all sorts of different configurations, and adding a different module is easy to do, no matter which vendor or software language is used. The software is specifically designed to set up a collaborative line, ensuring that the different components always act as one.
Pick-a-Pack was a European Union project, and there were 3 Spanish partners, including ASTI and Tecnalia. Tecnalia developed the pickable pick-and-place robot at the end. So were very lucky to have them on board. It was a large project with 15 partners, but it's very successful in the end. So we've developed all that. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Frans.